Welcome. Couch Beers Republic. Episode 26, Couch Beers.
26, wow.
Yep.
Feels like it was yesterday when we did number one.
Not quite. We slowed down this year. Last year we were pretty good. We did it almost every 2 weeks, but
yeah,
I think this year we've only done
we've been
handful.
busy.
Yeah,
We've
for sure.
both moved, and you've done DIY, and I guess I've did a little bit, but
Yeah, I still haven't seen your place. Thanks for the invite.
Open invite, Bish. If you want to go to Hot Tub, I got that. I got Maynard's in Excelsior. I've got everything you need.
Whenever I think of Maynard's, I also think of Malone's in Maple Grove. I've never been to Maynard's, but I went to Malone's for the first time. It's quite good. They got good waffle fries.
Malone. Is it Maloney's or Malone's?
I'm pretty sure it's just Malone's. But, yeah, like a couple weeks ago, last week, don't even remember, there was a bad storm. Our power was out for 2 days.
What? 2 days?
Yeah. Like
Your
almost
food go
48
bad?
hours.
What the hell?
Well, my dad has a generator. So I picked up generator on my way home from work, and then we could power the fridge and freezer, but that was it.
What the heck? What, did they have an explanation? Who's your power carrier, XL?
Yeah.
And did they have an explanation as to why?
So it's kind of funny. So we were outside doing yard work and stuff because we didn't have any power.
That is kind of funny.
And all our neighbors were outside. And our one neighbor from down the street is walking by with his kid, and he's we walked down to the street and we're talking to him. And he said the neighbor next to him had a tree that was dead. It fell on the power line, and the people whose tree it was didn't even call it in. They so it was like that for a day, and then he called in and was like, "Oh, they're like, oh, there's a tree down? Nobody told us." They had no idea. So it probably could have been fixed after a day, but
Was the neighbor whose tree it was, were they just like, I don't even know, or do they?
I don't know. I don't know if he talked to him, but he was saying while they were fixing the power line, they had trucks and stuff just lined up the street, of people trying to fix it. He had someone at his house, and I'm like, what's that guy doing here? At your house? And he's like, oh, the power lines got ripped out of their electrical box in their house. So they had to replace the whole electrical box because it got all mangled, replace all the lines coming from the power lines in his backyard.
Holy crap.
He said it was $9,000.
It was what?
$9,000.
Did he have to pay for that?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he'll try to get
Claim
his
or
insurance to go through it, but yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. It was wild.
Was that the same tree? Or no?
Yeah, because it was I think it was I think it was the neighbor from the street behind him.
So maybe he'll go after that neighbor?
Yeah, it could. I don't know. I'm so at our backyard, we've got our neighbor's pine tree. The bottom half of it is dead, and some of the limbs are hanging on our power lines. I'm we better take a picture of that just so we have a before picture. But
damn right.
Yeah.
Or just, what is the rule on that? Isn't it things that are crossing into your property, you can chop off limbs and stuff?
I don't know.
But you can't chop down the tree, but you can chop off branches that are on your property, I think. I don't know how that works.
We probably should, at least the one that's hanging on the power line, because it's stretching it tight.
Yeah, because you could probably, call your power company and just say fix that
They would fix it, you think?
Yeah, usually I think you can call them and they'll come out and cut it.
It's worth it.
I don't think they charge you either because it's a safety thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't
Makes
know.
sense.
I'm not sure. I wish I had all the answers.
So, changing the subject. You're a Costco guy, right?
I am a Costco fanatic. However, I no longer have a membership.
Is that true?
It is factual. Yeah.
Wow. I would not have seen that coming.
So, just the rationale behind it was, the Eden Prairie Costco is probably, it might be the worst location for a Costco known to man. I mean, it's super shitty. It's like up on like this weird bluff where you traffic in and out is terrible. Like every time I went there, it was beyond packed, and the store wasn't laid out like every other Costco I've been in. So it's like there is something to be said about like Targets and those chain stores where they're laid out the same or similar. Then you're familiar and you know where your shit is. So this Costco, it's almost like they took a Sam's Club and like converted it into a Costco and then just really screwed it up. They kept the same screwed up floor plan or something. I don't know. Anyway, so I eventually got sick of it where I was like, my time efficient 15-minute Costco runs were becoming 45 to an hour. Ooh. And I only live not even 10 minutes away from that Costco.
There's not another one close by?
Next closest one might be, I'd say, Burnsville, which is close to my work. But then I have to like travel like 3 miles out of my way to fill up and whatever. But it was also what I didn't like, which I think they should change, is all the rewards for the credit card. Mm-hmm. It comes back as like in a form of cash at the end of the year, whereas
instead of like being able to redeem it to like spend at the store.
Yeah. So like what I did is, and I started just shifting my purchases with where I live, the convenience. But like I got a American Express Blue Card, which is 6% back on groceries.
Oh my gosh!
And then 3% on gas. So it's like I took a 1% hit in gas, converting to the Amex from the Costco card, but I gained like 5% on freaking groceries. So,
that's crazy. Does that one have like an annual fee?
Yes. First year it's free, but after that it's $95.
It's basically a Costco membership.
Yes.
A little bit more, but
only like, I don't know. I also feel like, and maybe I'm wrong with this, but I feel like American Express, if you ask them to do something, they go to bat for you. It's like if you were like, I don't recognize it, it's like they dispute it and they like, the merchant is holding the bag. They're just like, they're SOL.
Yeah.
Like one time, I was letting Dallas's kid play with my wallet and credit cards at a restaurant, and the credit card slipped between the wall and the seat.
Yeah.
And we couldn't get it.
Was it like a bench seat?
Yeah, it was a bench seat. So we couldn't get it. And I was like, whatever, I'll just call Amex. So that night I said, hey, Amex, I lost my card or whatever. And they next dayed a card.
No way.
I think in like 2 days I got a new card.
That's wild.
Yeah. And I was like, geez.
They must have like their own printers or something that they would be able to turn it around that fast.
Yeah.
Or maybe is it the metal card with it engraved in the back?
No, it's
like stamped in.
It's just a regular credit card with a chip. So regardless of how fast they do it, I understand why they do it. They're like, the faster we get this card, the more he'll spend on it.
Yeah.
Faster.
Yeah,
so, but it's just kind of amazing. I just feel like there's American Express is a higher tier than all the other credit card companies.
Yeah.
Like every time I've called Amex, I always get someone who can understand what I'm saying. Every other credit card company I've dealt with, it's always been like, it's almost like they have a rehearsed answer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think you're addressing my problem. And I don't want to be rude and be like, get me someone else.
Yeah. I don't remember if I've told this story on the podcast or not, but
do it again anyway.
When I was in college, I got my computer got hacked and they had remote control of my computer, and I just would leave it unlocked and like walk away or go to class or whatever. So, and it took me like a couple days to figure out what was going on, but they were like, would go on the internet because I was logged into PayPal or whatever.
Yeah.
And they would like buy World of Warcraft money, or it was like RuneScape money or something like that on some sketchy Chinese website. And so I tried going through the sketchy website. I tried going through PayPal to get my money back. It was like $90, but I was a broke college kid.
Yeah.
So I'm like, $90, that's a lot of beer.
It's like $900 in today's time.
Yeah. And then finally I was like, I called my bank because it was like my debit card. And they're like, yeah, no problem. I just need you to answer a few questions. They're like, have you ever bought something from this website before? I'm like, no. They're like, I don't remember what else they asked me, but yeah. And then they were like, okay, you should have your money back tomorrow. I'm like, sick. Why didn't I go through that first? Because I was like, for like 2 weeks, I was trying to go through PayPal and that other website. But
So that brings up an excellent question that I continue to ask people. So why do you use your debit card?
I had a credit card in college, but I never used it. But now I never use my debit card for anything.
Gotcha. I know one person. I don't know. I still don't know how he did it in retrospect, but D-Dog, who I used to work with at my last job.
Yeah.
He does not own any credit cards. He does everything in cash and debit cards. And he's got a house, he's got a couple of cars. I just don't know how.
I think my brother does too. I mean, he listens, he'll let me know, but yeah. I think my brother's the same way.
Like, it's not that I can't understand
He's
it.
just really good at budgeting. He's like, this is what I'm going to spend on this. This is what I'm going to spend on this. So he just like, I don't know.
Makes sense. Yeah, like I said, it baffles me. But I guess that keeps you also honest, right? Like,
yeah.
It's directly to your...
You're not going to get behind on payments.
Yeah. So, whatever. To each their own.
Yep. Okay, Costco.
Okay, sorry,
Did you see this the other day? So, I follow this meme account on Twitter. His name is John W. Rich Kid.
Okay.
He switched his like profile picture and name to Breaking 911 and is like pretending to be like a breaking news alert.
Okay.
And tweeted, breaking, Costco announces plans to raise food court hot dog prices by $1 due to inflation. And it actually like got picked up by news organizations. Like the House GOP Twitter account retweeted it and was like, Bidenflation strikes again.
Oh my God.
And the Costco stock dumped 12%.
No way.
Yeah, here, I got the chart. I'll show you. Look at this. So this is like where it opened the day and just dumped.
Jeez, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well,
it went from, let me see, like 488, and it opened at 460 and was all the way down to like 420.
You got to look up I don't know if it was a meme. I think it was legitimate. I'll disclose, I don't know, but historically in the past when they have talked about raising the hot dog prices, there's like look up Jim Sinegal Costco hot dog price or something, because apparently Jim Sinegal was the co-founder of Costco.
Yeah,
and I think he stepped down as CEO or something. I don't even know, but the new CEO was talking about raising hot dog rates or something, and Jim Sinegal is like, "Don't you effing dare raise the price of those hot dogs or something."
Okay, yeah, here it is. It's on Snopes. Okay, we'll find out if it's real right here.
Yeah.
Costco co-founder once said, "I will kill you," to CEO who wanted to hike the price of $1.50 hot dog combo.
I don't know if he said well, maybe my memory's...
This was a quote. Apparently it's true, because the CEO was the one that quoted him as saying that. All right, hold on. Here's the whole quote. "I came to Jim Sinegal once and I said, Jim, we can't sell this hot dog for $1.50. We're losing our rear ends. And he said, if you raise the effing hot dog, I will kill you. Figure it out." That's all I really needed.
So, sorry, Jim Sinegal is my hero. Just so everyone's aware.
By the way, if you raise the price to $1.75, it would not be that big of a deal. People would still buy it. Oh, that's funny.
I wonder, okay, if we timestamped that report or that news thing,
yeah,
and we looked up the stock price that day, I bet shares soared.
Probably. They're like, Costco's got our backs.
Damn right.
Let's get theirs.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Absolutely amazing. Jim Sinegal.
So I have my favorite story that I want to share with you, but I'm going to save that for last.
Okay.
Because it's crypto related, and I know most people don't care, but it's like It's the craziest thing that I've seen happen. Like, okay, but we'll come back to that.
Okay.
I've decided that I want to be a mechanical pencil person. I've been a pen person all through college and since then, so like 12 years. But I've decided I'm going to transition to a mechanical pencil person. Your thoughts?
I don't know if I have thoughts. I have questions.
Do you have strong opinions about pencils, pens?
Um,
Do you have a pencil sharpener in your desk?
no.
Neither do I.
If any accountants are listening, they know that blue pens are all we use or should use.
Is that true?
It's an old historic thing about it. It's like an olden time thing of accounting. So the idea was when you make photocopies, it's just black and white. So like using a blue pen was a way to like validate.
So you would know it was like a markup. Oh, I see.
Something like that. It was, you had to look it up, like blue pens and accountants. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like that where a photocopy, like an original copy had blue ink, I think is kind of how it went.
That makes sense.
I don't know. So, but I don't know. I always use pens.
Do you use blue pens?
Usually at work, yes, but I never seldom write on anything. It's always little post-it notes for myself or like for reminders. But I don't know. It's I'm trying to think the last time I used a pencil. I think I was just not upset, but I was just kind of like, it needs to be sharpened, or I'm twisting the pencil to use, like, because the sharpen wasn't perfect around. It was like, whatever shape that is. Yeah. So like I was like being weird with it, and it was too fat, so it looks like my handwriting was even worse because it was like super fat. But then on the other side of the coin, mechanical pencils, they just break every damn time I write. So maybe I'm just like too strong. I don't know.
It could be
too powerful.
Too much pressure. So
I guess my question surrounding your statement is it a type of person you're trying to be, or do you just want to be like just use mechanical pencils more?
I don't know, and I'm not sure it'll stick. But
why are you on this warpath?
It kind of started because I bought a bunch of those like square pencils for woodworking.
Yeah.
And I hate them. Like that's just such like, because you have to sharpen it like you write on a piece of wood, and then within 10 minutes you gotta resharpen it. It's just a pain. So I'm like, I'm gonna get a mechanical pencil. So I told this to Alyssa, and she was like, you can't use mechanical pencils on wood because it's just gonna break. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. So then I looked it up, and they make like special mechanical pencils for woodworking. It's got like a really thick end, but I didn't buy one because they're kind of expensive. But I also don't spend that much time working with like 2x4s and stuff. I'm more working with like plywood, so that's already pretty smooth. So it's probably not going to break as much. But we'll see.
I was going to say, so you said the cool fancy dancy mechanical pencil was expensive. Is the inconvenience of having to sharpen the pen greater than the cost of having a pen that you don't have to do that with? That's the question you have to ask.
That is a good question, and I didn't think of it that way, but I think I will start thinking that way. Next time I'm doing a woodworking project, like I'm going to make a TV console for the living room.
Mm-hmm.
I'll test it out. I'll see what I think.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a right answer or a wrong answer. I'm just
there's probably not. It's just opinion.
Yeah.
Do you remember in elementary school or like high school, when you're filling out the test and they're like, you have to use a number 2 pencil. You have to use a number 2 pencil. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, I remember
you got to fill in the bubbles. And like, you can't use anything but a number 2 pencil or it won't work. You think that's true, or you think that's like a old wives' tale?
Now that I'm actually 30 years old, I think that's bullshit.
I agree.
I don't think how it's like, think about it. How many high schools are there in the United States? do they have sophisticated software or technology that they would throw into these tests
Yeah.
to like verify or validate if it's a number, like number 2, what, graphite? What does that even mean? Like,
Yeah, so
I don't get it.
when I was gonna buy my mechanical pencils, I saw they're all labeled number 2, and I'm like,
What does that even mean?
I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't bother to look it up, but I couldn't help but think that there's no way using a non-number 2 pencil would not work on those little Scantron things, because all it's doing is it's going in a machine and it's like looking for the dark bubble. You know, it's not like it's taking a like chemical sample of the ink.
That's what I mean. That's okay.
I don't know.
Here you go.
You're looking it up.
Yeah. So pencils have above number 2, or pencils above number 2 are filled with harder graphite and tend to have a lighter marking and are frequently used in drafting pencils. Often used by architects and designers, a number 2 pencil is the numeric scale is roughly equivalent to an HB pencil on the international scale, whatever the hell that means.
No idea. Does it say anything about Scantrons?
Oh, should I look that up?
Yeah. Look up number 2 Scantron pencil or something. Number 2 pencil Scantron. It's probably on Snopes too.
I don't know what Snopes is.
Snopes is like a debunking website. So like when someone tweets Betty White died, well actually she did not die now, didn't she? Like years ago, people would like it would blow up that Betty White died. And you just go on Snopes and it says Betty White did not die. She's alive and well.
Okay, I don't know if I buy this. This is from a todayifoundout.com, so it sounds like a very valid
Tifo.
site. Today I found out why you use to have to use number 2 pencils when using Scantron forms. Now you might be saying used to, don't you still have to? Turns out, despite what pretty much all teachers will tell you, not really. Modern Scantron systems are quite high-tech, using image sensors and sophisticated imaging processing algorithms. I still don't even buy that. I don't even believe that shit. These algorithms can even pick out which oval has the strongest mark. I don't feel like that's I feel like algorithm is the wrong term to use. It probably is truthful, but it's probably it makes me think
it's just taking a measurement of which space is the darkest.
Yeah.
It's not like an algorithm.
And that's where, like, when I think of algorithm, I think of like blockchain or something like that, you know, like something where someone coded something.
Right.
Or whatever. But anyway.
I'm sure it is coded, but yeah. I agree.
Yeah, it's just coded dumbly. So if your test is being processed by one of those newer Scantron systems, you could fill out every bubble on the Scantron, and it would simply pick up the darkest shaded bubble in each row and assign that to your answer. Okay, blah, 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 blah.
I gotta imagine that that's always been true.
Yeah.
Because it's not like our imaging sensors have gotten miles better in the last 20 years. I don't think they have. But.
Okay, here's a better answer. The first Scantron sheets were scored or read by feeding the sheets through a machine that measured how much light was blocked. Number 2 pencils were required to fill in the circles on the sheet because the graphite in the pencil is an opaque substance that absorbs the light that hits it. That seems more reasonable. You see if you engineering.
Yeah, but
that makes sense.
Let's see.
Because think about it, if you use like a pen, that's not necessarily opaque. So it would just be like, I don't know. I do not know.
Strange. I don't know. It still seems like no matter what you're gonna write on it with, it's gonna block more light than not writing anything.
Yeah, that's true. That's factual. I don't know, man. Wish I had all the answers. What else you got? Looks like you got a Rolodex there.
Yeah, most of this stuff on here is for my final topic, so you got anything? This might take us a while, but...
Oh, on your thing?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. So...
You said to me earlier that after our last episode, you started noticing that the content on LinkedIn has taken a dive.
Yeah, it's it's not even, I wouldn't say the content's taken a dive per se. I'd say more so it's incredibly personable stuff and not really relevant to. Oh, actually, let me back up. I think I know what LinkedIn, what it's become, I think. Or maybe this is correcting my interpretation of what it is. So I see tons of these like recruiters and these people like they're saying testimonies or stories of their last job. Like, my boss was this, and do all that, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So, and then they're saying, so the reason I say recruiters is because I think they're trying to like be like, hey, I'm recruiting for this position and this is not what it's like my old job or something, right?
Yeah.
Now, I like to kind of think about, we're in this stage or era where social media is very open, people can post, and it's kind of like a transparency. Like if some company or someone is like a bad at what they do, it's going to get out there at some point, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
people will kind of won't tolerate it, I would say.
Have you ever looked at Glassdoor? Glassdoor is like a website that you can go anonymously and like review the company you work for or have worked for in the past. You can say what your salary is, what your position was, and like comment about like you give it like you rate like the work-life balance.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, I've used that a lot. It's cool to look at. But.
Yeah, I have looked at that for my last job just because it was really funny. But
yeah,
but yeah, so it's like, but some of these are ridiculous. I wish I should screenshot it, but it's like, it's like, oh, today my boss, he's like, or someone made a post that was like, I don't ask my employees what they're doing with their time off. That's their time off. I don't need to know, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, dude, you could be genuinely curious. Like, you don't have to like demand it and they don't have to tell you.
Right.
Like, let it be. To me, I was like, that's a employee thing. Like, if my boss says, well, you're using your time off, if it's something private, I'll be like, oh, just like, I'll, like make up a white lie, or just be like, just needed time away or something.
Yeah, I think it's...
Or I would be honest, I'm going to North Carolina with my dad.
Yeah.
you know, like, I got nothing to hide. What are you talking about? This is my time off.
I think it's totally normal for, like, especially someone that you have a relationship with, like your boss, where they would be like, they're like, oh, you're taking Friday off? What are you doing this weekend?
It's a reasonable question, and it's not one
like
that's going to, it's not prying, and it's not going to get you in trouble. So when I see these posts on LinkedIn of these people, like, I feel like some of these things I feel like don't exist. These scenarios where they're like, I can't even think of a great example because they're so out. I don't think they exist. That's where I'm like, that's not a real situation. Like, why would your boss ever, why would the company ever like, shun you for like taking time off or like, it's like these things where they try to present a environment that doesn't exist as a way to promote or elevate a realistic situation, maybe. I don't know.
Or
like,
even if it was like something that happened, it's like portrayed in a way that's kind of skewed to prove their point.
Yeah, or just exactly 100% like that, or like or they're creating. I see it with recruiters. I think they create situations that don't exist in order to make them look more appealing. Like it's like stupid things like, I had to go to the doctor today and I didn't tell my boss because I don't have to. I'm just like, what planet are you on? Like, I'm going to let my boss know, like, hey, I got a doctor's appointment today. I'm telling you I'm going to the appointment. I'm not asking. There's a difference.
Yeah.
or people are like, I had to ask my boss at the appointment, and he said, "Do you really have to go?" I was like, that's not a real scenario. Bosses don't actually say that.
Yeah.
Do you have to go to the doctor appointment?
Yeah.
Like, it's like to me that would be a made up scenario. That's just me.
It could happen.
It probably has happened in the past,
Yeah,
but
I'm
I think in 2022, those people are going to be fired, or those companies are going to dwindle.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to attract anyone.
Right.
I don't know. That's my opinion.
I like it.
I gotta say a couple things too. Shout out to Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Very good.
How
Awesome.
long were you there? Like a week?
No, I left Saturday and came back Wednesday.
Okay.
Went with my padre. Yeah. So, just for everyone traveling, go to Raleigh. Really cool town. Actually, I tell this to everyone, and they don't really believe me, or they kind of like, oh, whatever. It is the cleanest city I've ever been in.
Like the streets are clean and everything? Or
Everything about it. There was, so me and my dad were walking around downtown, and it took me about 30 minutes, and I started looking around, and I'm like, something's off, and I don't know what it is. And it finally, I came to the realization when I wanted to throw something away in my pocket. I don't know, a receipt. I don't know. There's like very, very few public trash cans. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like I couldn't find one. So I was like, that's weird. But then I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to throw this on the ground. But I was just kind of like, did a survey around me to see like, well, who else has like just been lazy and throwing their shit on the ground? No trash anywhere.
Weird.
Absolutely none. Like then a little bit later, we were at the Capitol, just like walking around it. And then I see a little, like probably the size of like, I don't know, half your index finger.
Yeah.
Like a piece of trash on the ground. And it just like stood out. And I like trained on it. I was like, I feel like I should pick that up and throw it away. It was so bizarre. Imagine being in a city where there's no trash. It doesn't exist. Now, we actually approached a cop and said, hey, we're from Minnesota. Why is your town so clean? And he's just like, I don't understand the question. I'm from Wisconsin. And I'm like, dude, there's no trash anywhere. And he's like, well, there's an organization, nonprofit, that like will pick up trash if you call them. They have a program with the police. But I'm like, I said, maybe for like mattresses or bags of garbage, but like there's nothing
They're not
here.
Gonna pick up a Snickers wrapper. Then
when we went up to Norfolk, Virginia, we were walking around downtown in the morning, and there are people's, that's their jobs. It's like a career down there is picking up trash. They're like city workers or something. They have the little like pincer looking grabber. Like they're picking up trash. And I'm like, oh, so like that's why their cities are so damn clean, is because they have people who literally do this.
Huh.
Whereas Minnesota, we don't. And it just made me think, and my dad kind of mentioned it, and I thought it hit it right on the head, was like, I think the North, the Midwest, like I think we look down at those types of jobs. If you like a city employee,
probably
was like picking up trash, or we're too good for it, right? I don't know what it is, but like,
I think another hidden problem is snow, because in the winter, like the snow will just accumulate on sidewalks, especially in the city. Like there's not a lot of places for it to go, so all the stuff like any trash that ends up in the street will just end up in a snowbank.
Yep.
So when the snow melts, there's just piles of trash. Yeah,
100%. And I thought about that too. I was like, okay, there's snow. They don't really have that. So
yeah.
But I was like, I strongly recommend anyone to go to Raleigh, because and Norfolk, they didn't have any trash either. But like, I was just kind of like, it made me feel good seeing that there was no trash anywhere. I don't know. I loved it.
I've never been. Is Raleigh on the coast?
No,
it's
inland.
like inland.
Yep. But here's another story for you. So we went to I think it's called Beasley's Chicken or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm in North Carolina, and I see the Carolina Reaper chicken sandwich, and I'm like, I said, hey, is that Carolina Reaper sandwich pretty hot or pretty good? Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm like, okay, is it hot? Yeah, it's really hot. I was like, is it though? Because I've had hot And I'm just like, I've had hot, and these guys like, you could put, the sauce on the side if you wanted, but yeah, it's pretty hot. It's better with the heat. I'm like, okay, yeah. Let's do it. I could barely eat that damn thing. So it's not like a sauce either. It was fried in like oil, Carolina Reaper oil.
Well, the Carolina Reaper for a long time was the hottest pepper in the entire world.
Yeah, so I believe it.
Yeah.
Because I literally took one bite and like I started sweating, my ears were on fire, like I was crying, and like it was crazy because it's just the heat. Because I took a bite and I'm like, wow, that's like the best damn chicken I've ever had, I think.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the heat just like ruins me. I made it through, I think 2/3 of the sandwich. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll eat some like collard greens or something. And then like, I couldn't get through anything because I was like, I asked for a cup of milk and everything. Like I was like making a scene at the damn restaurant.
That's hilarious.
So I was like, damn it. Like kind of not a wasted meal because I could taste the chicken before the heat came. But then anyway, so here I am. I want to shout out to every Minnesota or Midwest restaurant that has, quote, Nashville hot and Reaper heat or whatever the hell it is. That shit ain't hot.
Okay, so I agree with you 95% of the time. But the two exceptions that I can give you. The Birdhouse, I think it's in technically Brooklyn Park. They have a Nashville hot chicken sandwich and they have Nashville hot wings. They're really hot. Like, probably not as hot as what you just ate, but they're very hot compared to other Nashville hot stuff. But it's also very good. So there's that. And I don't remember where I got it, but I got a Carolina Reaper burger somewhere, and they put the sauce on the side. And I'm glad they did, because I just put like I tried it with like the fries first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh wow, this is pretty spicy. And then I like put a little bit on the burger, like on the bun, put the bun back on the burger, and I was eating it. I'm like, wow, this is hot. But yes, I love spicy food.
Yeah, I do too, and that's where I pretty much I should really try those places, because I'm at this point everything is ketchup compared to what I had in Raleigh. So I like spicy, but yeah, holy shnikes.
We should go to the Birdhouse sometime, because they like their food is really good, and there's like a brewery right next door, and there's good stuff there.
I'm in.
Yeah,
but yeah. So anyway, but I had a lot. We went to the Outer Banks and all that stuff. I did a whole lot more in North Carolina, but yeah. Let's get to your story.
Okay. Did you hear anything about this? There's a are you familiar with the term stablecoin?
Isn't that where, it's like, is that like in US dollars or something?
Yes.
Something stupid?
So most stablecoins are like, basically it's a coin that is supposed to, like a cryptocurrency that's supposed to be equivalent to $1 US.
Okay.
So you can see it'd be useful. Everyone's like, crypto is so volatile. But if you can stay in the crypto ecosystem and just swap your assets for something that's not volatile, like the US dollar, that's like a very good thing to have. And maybe like the two biggest stable coins are something called USDT and USDC.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those are kind of owned by like centralized companies that issue them, and they're all like fully backed by actual dollars in a bank account somewhere.
Okay.
But for years, there's been people trying to do more decentralized stable coins. So not fully backed in a bank account. There are ones that are fully collateralized, like with on-chain assets. But there's also, for the last few years, been a bunch of attempts to do an algorithmic stablecoin. There's the word again.
I bet that is truthfully algorithmic.
Yeah. So a lot of them have failed. Like, basically it loses the peg to the dollar, and then you kind of lose the trust of everyone that wants to use it, but the one that got the biggest was called UST. It was done by I don't know if it's technically a company or whatever, a group that goes by Terraform Labs. So Terraform Labs created their own blockchain, and the whole idea was they have this blockchain called Terra Luna, and their main goal was to be able to create stablecoins for different currencies. So like US dollar, British pound, all these different currencies, right? But the only one that really like ended up that they were like really wanted to get to work was UST, which is their US dollar.
Yeah.
And up until like 2 weeks ago, UST got into the tens of billions of dollars of market cap. So it got really, really big. And the way it worked was the Terra Luna blockchain is kind of backstopped by a different currency called Luna.
Okay.
And you could always trade 1 UST, so like $1, for $1 worth of Luna. So if the price of Luna, which is very volatile like any other cryptocurrency, is $100, you could trade 100 UST for 1 Luna.
Okay.
Or if the price of Luna is $1, you can trade 1 to 1.
Okay.
And they had like backing from a lot of big companies in the crypto space. Well, people have been pointing out, like, as it's been getting bigger and bigger and bigger, they're like, what happens when 1 UST is not worth $1? Like if it loses the peg to $1, because a lot of people start selling it or something. So say 1 UST is worth 90 cents. You're incentivized to swap your UST for Luna because you get $1 worth instead of 90 cents is worth. You get $1 worth, and then you can sell the Luna for your $1. So basically you get your money back. But that creates like a death spiral. So because so many people are going to try to like arbitrage, yeah. They're going to try to do that arbitrage. That means the price of UST is going to keep going down, and the price of Luna is also going to keep going down. So that's going to cause more people to start selling their UST. Well, that happened. And the combined market cap of UST and Luna at the time that it really started was more than Enron when Enron blew up in 2001.
Damn.
And nobody I was going to say nobody's talking about it, but there was an article in the New York Times yesterday. But it's even crazier because so many people are are coming out and we're like, look, we knew this was going to happen. Someone says like, oh, I said this, like I tweeted this out months ago that this could happen. And it's exactly what happened. So the guy that started Terraform Labs, his name is Do Kwon. He's from South Korea, but I think he went to Stanford or something. Anyway, as Luna was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, he was getting more and more deranged on Twitter. So, let's see, November 2021, this anonymous guy, goes by Freddie Reynolds, tweeted out, a few weeks ago, I responded to a tweet with a brief outline of how a wealthy attacker could not only break Terra Luna, but profit heavily doing so. Below, I provide a detailed breakdown. $1 billion capital needed. And I'm gonna not use one of the words that Do Kwon responded with. But he retweeted it and said, "This is probably the most redacted thread I've read this decade." He used a different R word. Silence is a perfectly acceptable option if stupid. Billionaires in my following. Go ahead, see what happens. So yeah, he was very confident and kind of like too confident in his system, and I think he just was kind of it got bigger and bigger and bigger, and his ego got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Who, Do Kwon or the other guy?
Yeah, Do Kwon. And so the whole idea of why someone would want UST and why it got so big was because they had like a lending platform where they were offering 20% yield on their UST. So like you could take like $1,000 in your bank account and buy UST, buy 1,000 UST with it, and earn 20% yield on that. So everyone is like, the biggest argument was that this is totally unsustainable. Basically, they're doing it as a marketing expense. Like they're paying out 20% every year, but you can't do that forever. Right. So eventually someone's going to, like, people are going to start selling their UST, and there's going to be this death spiral. And so someone on Twitter was like, this is ridiculous. This is not going to work. This is going to blow up. And I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. And he said, like, I will bet $1 million that the price of Luna a year from now is less than the price of Luna now. And Do Kwon, because he was so arrogant, was like, let's do it. So they both spent $1 million to a separate, like a separate crypto wallet controlled by somebody else.
Who kind of like holds, like, distributes it when, whatever. Yeah.
A year from now, whoever
it's like
wins
coded.
This bet,
is it like a coded bet almost, to where?
No,
like...
it was. They just had it like had someone do the escrow.
Okay, gotcha.
And the next day, this was in March. The next day, another guy was like, "I want to do the same bet, but make it 10 million." And Do Kwon is like, "Yeah, do it. Fund the wallet. I'll match it." So they did, and there's $22 million sitting in this wallet. And so last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, it started to fall, kept falling, and they had like billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin that they had bought in the last few months that they're like, we're going to defend the peg. We're going to like start buying UST to push the price back up to $1. And so they sent all of their Bitcoin to a market maker to buy their UST to do it for them. And it wasn't really clear exactly where they sent it, but they had billions of dollars. And then the price like kind of recovered. It was like, started out, it fell to like 98 cents. He was tweeting out, he's like, why are people saying that this is like breaking the peg? This is so stupid. Obviously we're going to be fine. And like they like advertise this thing as like, hey, put your money in, you can earn 20% on your dollars, there's no risk. So like people literally were putting their life savings into this.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And long story short, I'll look up what the price is now. But it didn't work. Basically failed experiment, and like tens of billions of dollars were wiped off, like just gone. But yeah, it's crazy. Like I was watching it happen in real time as the price is falling. I'm like, this is broken. Like and it was kind of crazy because they had so much investment from venture capitalists and stuff that must not have understood how the system worked, because as soon as it starts to go down, there's no recovery. And there's like people that are like, we gotta buy the dip, you know, like you can't buy the dip because once it starts dipping, there's no coming back. But let's see. So at its all-time high, Luna was worth like $130. It's now worth 0.00014 cents.
Yikes.
And UST, which should be worth $1, it's loading, is worth 7 cents, which I honestly don't even understand how it's worth anything. But there's also, so one of the biggest crypto exchanges, Binance, their CEO, CZ, was a very big backer of Luna. He was like one of their biggest investors. So this is from the New York Times article. Some of Mr. Kwan's major investors have lost money. Changpeng Zhang, CZ, chief executive of the crypto exchange Binance, which invested in Terraform Labs, said his firm had bought $3 million of Luna, which grew to a peak value of $1.6 billion. But Binance never sold its tokens. Its Luna holdings are currently worth less than $3,000. $3 million to $1.6 billion to $3,000 in a week.
That has got to...
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's like, I'm pretty sure the fall of, what's that? Oh, Enron. I'm pretty sure that took like a year. This happened in 3 days.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was the most insane thing I've ever seen. And there were so many people that were like, that came out and were like, look, we knew this was going to happen. I don't know how this got as big as it could if you actually did research and like looked at how this system worked. But the guy that bet $20 million, he tweeted out after it really, really fell. He was like, I just hedged my bet. I bought enough to cover the $20 million if it gets back to the price that we bet on for 72 cents. He hedged his $20 million bet for 72 cents.
Yes, that's like...
Everyone was like, this is the greatest trade of all time. Like, how you can never top it. That's the like most baller trade of all time. Which, I mean, true, but also people literally lost their life savings. And so just like the other day, South Korea, where he is from, or maybe he lives, maybe it was Singapore. Doesn't matter. Anyway, they announced they're like bringing back this like special investigation team to like look into Do Kwon, and like there's no way he doesn't spend like the rest of his life in jail.
Yeah. What? Oh my gosh. So like, I don't know. I don't feel bad for the people who threw life savings at it because, I mean, to quote Warren Buffett, don't invest in something you don't understand.
Yeah.
So, if you put your life savings into something and you lose money without understanding why, that's on you.
Yeah. I think I would normally agree with you, but there were so many like big investment firms that were backing this, and it really made it seem like it was something. It was in the top, like Terra Luna, like the Luna token and UST were in the top 10 like overall market cap of all cryptocurrencies. Like they had so much like it almost seemed like it had gotten too big to fail. Like there were these huge crypto firms that were backing it that like not only were they like funding it and like helping, like they were invested in it, but they were also like basically a giant advertisement for it. Like these huge companies think that this is gonna work.
Do they think it's gonna work, or did they just like
they knew it could make them money?
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit of both, because one of the biggest ones, Galaxy Digital, they have like their founder Mike Novogratz literally got a Luna tattoo on his arm. It's huge. It's like takes up his whole like I don't know what you call this, like it's the side of his arm, like his tricep bicep, and it's like a wolf howling at the moon, and it says Luna on it.
Oh my god.
And so he didn't say anything for a few days, and just like a couple days ago he came out and like released a whole statement, and he was like there was a line in there that was like my tattoo is going to be a lifelong reminder that venture investing takes humility.
Yeah. I can't really say anything because I got a QR code.
You got a LinkedIn.
yeah, but no, I mean, so I understand the foundation kind of crypto, but I don't know all the crazy intricacies stuff that more so you would know.
Yeah.
But I just feel like as more and more business oriented people get involved, those things I don't necessarily like. I don't have faith in those if that makes sense. Because I don't think they actually understand. I think they're looking at it to make money, not for how Ethereum is designed, or like
I agree with
the
that.
possibilities, I guess.
There was also a period for like 2 years where any venture capitalist could throw money at any project and would make money. So I think that was part of it too. Like they were in this like God complex, invincible state. Like
like I literally I can't lose.
Yeah.
Like that mindset, which
yeah,
like I said, I don't know enough to. I have some fake ownership of Ethereum through Venmo.
Yeah, not even Robinhood.
No, I don't. No, I don't do Robinhood.
Yeah,
got my E-Trade account.
I have an E-Trade account too. I don't use it, but
unless you got
I have used it. Yeah,
buy the dip.
It was like when it actually started to fall. I watched it fall from like $1 to 97 cents, and then it went back up to like 98 cents, and it stayed there for like a couple hours, and then it went from 98 cents to like 70 and bounced back to like 90, and then from 90 it went to like 12 cents. It was insane.
So was that kind of like a Ponzi scheme then? Where like because they were promising 20% return, were they paying off that 20% on the people who were jumping in?
I don't think
using that money to.
No, because I don't think technically it was a Ponzi scheme, because they weren't using users' funds to pay back other users.
Oh, okay.
They were using basically their like corporate treasury.
Ah, okay.
Because they had all this like hundreds
raised
of millions
funds
of dollars from their like investors and stuff. But yeah, it was wild. It happened so fast too.
Yeah, what was it? You said 3 days?
Yeah, like 3 days. Yeah.
I mean, if you're not paying attention,
yeah.
it's over in a week, and you're like, wait a minute, what I missed?
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And their $3 billion worth of Bitcoin. Everyone for like days was like, why don't they just use that to? Because I think the actual full market cap of UST was like 20 billion. They're like, why don't they use that, like their $3 billion and the rest of their corporate treasury, to like, they can't make their users whole, but they could at least give them like 30 cents on the dollar. They came out and were like, oh, we spent the $3 billion trying to defend the peg. It just didn't work. Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to the regulation side, but it seems like they're really trying to like get that under control, and I'm just like, it's like I understand why they're trying to, but at the same time, like, that's not the point. Like, where the point is, like, you guys suck, and like,
Yeah, I think this will be kind of like, this is going to be something that regulators point at and say, this is why we need to
defend people.
Yeah.
I still disagree. Again, like, if people want to throw YOLO their life savings at something they don't understand or think it's an ironclad thing, I'm not going to feel bad for them.
I tend to agree with that, but yes. I do feel bad for them, but I also, like, obviously they did it to themselves. Nobody made them do it.
It depends, if they're being misled. That's a big thing.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why the SEC exists, right? To, so companies don't mislead you and I from buying.
I think there was a lot of that in this system. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if anything, I'd be pro.
I'm very
transparency kind of.
100%. I'm very pro, like, sensible crypto regulation.
Yeah.
I'm not anti-regulation at all. But the way the SEC is like talking about it now is they're investigating like legitimate crypto protocols, like where there's like so many scams, like so many people that are just defrauding investors and like legitimately only in it to take like money away from people. Like, why not go after those people? Why go after legitimate scams that are trying to provide a public good? Or legitimate projects that are trying to provide a public good.
I was like, I'm trying to understand that comment, but no, I get it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'm very passionate about it, and yeah.
Well, yeah.
I wish like it's a public ledger, and people are so dumb that like they can't hide themselves on a public ledger well enough that you can see who is scamming. Like these people are doxxed because you have to provide information about yourself to like when you bought like crypto on Venmo, they have information about you.
Yeah.
When you buy crypto on any exchange, you have to provide like your driver's license, your like date of birth. You have to provide all this information about yourself before you can actually purchase it. That all these people, because you see it get withdrawn to a wallet, you can track this wallet was from this exchange and this wallet was scamming. You just go to the exchange and say, who owns this wallet? Because they're scamming people, defrauding investors. Go after those people. Don't go after like legitimate organizations.
Can you do that? How do you go after? Do you need, how much manpower do you need for that to go after those people? Like how many people could you get in if you were to like your full-time job is to find these people? There's
a guy on Twitter. His Twitter account's ZachXBT, ZACHXBT.
That's me.
It's literally what he does all day. Is he like finds these scammers, tracks them down, figures out who it is. He's done like he has a thread pinned at the top of his Twitter account. There's like 100 different people he's caught scamming and has like provable evidence on the blockchain who it is. The SEC could literally just call him up and be like, hey, give us all the people you know from the US. Boom. They could literally like put hundreds of scammers in jail from this one guy doing this.
Can you give me an example of a scammer thing?
Yeah, so like one of the big things is I'm trying to remember his name. He goes by like the Wolf of All Streets.
Okay, we'll just go with that.
Oh, Scott Melker. He was like a former DJ apparently. Have you ever heard of him, Scott Melker?
No.
I don't know if he was a good DJ, but
probably not.
He's got a bunch of followers on Twitter. He's like probably 1 million or something. And so he will like he'll basically for years has been like these little crypto organizations will create a cryptocurrency, send him a bunch of it for him to tweet out about it like a marketing expense, which is fine. Mm-hmm. Like as long as you disclose it, that's not illegal.
Right.
But what he does is he will receive the crypto from them, tweet out about it, say, look at this little small cap gem I found. And because he's got so many followers and there's like so many people that just want to get rich quick, mm-hmm. they'll buy some. The price will go way up because it's like such a small market cap.
Yeah.
And as soon as like an hour after he tweets it, you can look like on chain because he's an idiot and all of his wallets are connected. You see him start selling it. He's literally running a pump and dump on his Twitter followers. That's illegal.
Is that illegal?
Yes. It's illegal because he's running a pump and dump, and it's illegal because he's doing undisclosed advertisements. Both of those things are illegal.
Undisclosed advertisements.
Basically, he's getting paid to advertise for this thing, and he's not telling people he's advertising. He's
making money on
yes
his tweets. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. That's why when you see like, I don't know why this is the first person I thought of. When you see Jennifer Lopez on Instagram talking about her favorite like skin cream, it says #ad because you have to disclose that it's an advertisement.
Yeah, that's a new law or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Classic.
Yep.
But he's not doing that.
He's not. And there's a lot of people doing that. There's a lot of people that are just there's a thing called a rug pull. The way it works is, I guess, not really that important, but essentially you get a lot of people to invest in your crypto coin, or at least own some, to the point where there's like a market for it, and then you just sell all of the crypto that you were holding. Like say, okay, let's say I make a Tim coin, right? And I like pitch it to all my friends, talk about it on the podcast. Everybody starts buying it. All the Tims in the world start buying it. And turns out I own 50% of the entire supply. So what I do, as soon as I'm like, this thing is really taking off, my 50% is worth $1 billion. I'm like, boom, sell everything I have. The rug is pulled out from everybody else because once I sell everything, the price goes to zero. Nobody else is getting out of this thing. But I walk away with like $10 million or something. It's called a rug pull. There's a lot of people that do that. Yeah.
So when you say you sell, you like convert it to another currency or what?
Yeah, basically
Okay.
I would like through like a decentralized exchange or something, I would just swap all my Tim coin for USDC or Ether, something.
Gotcha.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of scammers, but I think the underlying technology is really cool. I think it's very important for humanity.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yep.
I'm just my only fear with that is like will the regulators get so far into it to where it'll just be like everything else?
I think it's too late.
You think?
Yep. It's like the internet, cat's out of the bag. There's no putting it back in. I think they have a chance to drive all the innovation out of the US if they want to go that route by making making crypto projects very hard to get off the ground in the US by over-regulating, but there will be somewhere in the world where they'll start, or they'll just do it kind of behind the scenes. There's a lot of crypto projects that are done by anonymous founders because they're worried about that kind of thing. But it's all in the code.
Are you one of them?
I am not. I wish.
Yeah, I was looking at Polkadot. I kind of want to buy Polkadot because it's down a little.
Yeah. I'm not really sure what the future of Polkadot is, but
no one does.
Yeah. Actually, the guy that does Polkadot is one of the basically the main guy that started programming Ethereum.
Yeah, that's why I
Gavin
follow
Wood.
it. That's why I follow it.
The other thing is there's a whole idea in crypto about tokenomics. Basically, Polkadot is backed by so many venture capitalist investors that for probably the next 10 years, whenever their vesting period is over, they're just going to be selling their venture stake. Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm not sure it makes a good investment, but you do you, boo boo.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot, but I just saw historical prices, and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah.
But I don't. I never pull a trigger because I'm like, okay, I don't know what the hell could happen,
So Ethereum is the second biggest cryptocurrency, right?
Yes.
It's been around since 2014, and after the last market cycle in 2018, when it started to go down, Ethereum went down 94%, and it since obviously has recovered and gone well past where it was the last cycle, but it's more the outlier than the norm. So there's tons of you look at maybe Ethereum's biggest competitor in 2017 was a project called EOS.
Okay.
That went down 94% and then went down another 94% and then went down another 94%. Basically has never gotten even close to where it was before. I don't know anybody that actually uses it now. But
you think that'll be Ethereum?
No. I think basically Ethereum is my highest conviction. I'm very confident Ethereum is here to stay.
Yeah.
Maybe even more confident than Bitcoin.
Dun dun dun.
So, okay, if there's still people listening to this, I was just talking to my friend Brennan about this yesterday.
That's cool.
I think Ethereum is the best. Like, okay, let me preface this. Not financial advice. I'm a freaking idiot, but I do spend a lot of my free time, like every day, reading about this stuff, and it's like the most interesting thing that's happening in the world to me. I think Ethereum is the easiest bet in the history of investing right now, because there's so much activity that's going on the Ethereum network that the fees to use it are like kind of remarkably high. Like, why would anybody pay $10 to send Ethereum from one wallet to another one? Like, I don't really know how to explain it, but basically there's a fee market for Ethereum to prevent spam on the network. So the more people that want to use the network at any given time, the higher the fees are. The fact that there's like a $10 fee just to send Ethereum from one wallet to another one means that there's so much demand to use the Ethereum network that people are willing to pay that. So there's all these like decentralized applications that use the Ethereum network, and they're providing a service to people, and they're willing to pay unreasonable amounts of money to use it because they're getting a benefit from it. And last year, Ethereum introduced this thing called EIP 1559, where most of the fee, instead of going to miners, is now getting burned. So the amount of Ethereum that's getting issued to miners went way down. Later this year, they're going to switch from a proof of work mechanism to proof of stake mechanism. So instead of having miners running hardware like 24/7 on their computer using up shitloads of electricity, there's going to be people that have Ethereum staking it, saying, hey, I have $100,000 worth of Ethereum. I'm willing to put that on the line and say, I'll validate the transactions that are coming through this network if you pay me a fee. So instead of the miners getting paid to run hardware, there's people that own Ethereum getting paid to put their Ethereum on the line. And
so are they backing transactions then? Is that what that means?
Yeah, so essentially they're just like, they're going to run software on their computer, but instead of using the hardware as like, this is like, I'm using electricity to say I truly believe this, because like, yeah, they're instead putting their actual money on the line, their Ethereum on the line. And if it turns out that they're doing it fraudulently, their Ethereum gets taken away. So yeah, when that happens, when it moves from proof of work to proof of stake, the actual issuance of Ethereum is going to go way down. It's like down 90% or something like that. So after that, instead of there being like $15 million worth of Ethereum that gets printed every day, it's actually going to be deflationary. So the amount of Ethereum that's being like burned from EIP 1559 is going to be less than the amount that's being issued to stakers. So instead of having like, basically, if the price of one Ethereum is $2,000 and you make $15 million worth of Ethereum every day, for the price to be $2,000 the next day, there has to be $15 million worth of demand to buy Ethereum. Once it goes deflationary, there's still going to be that $15 million worth of demand to buy Ethereum, but the amount of Ethereum on the network is going to be going down because it's deflationary. Okay. So there's like this buying pressure that's going to be pushing the price up. Anyway, yes, if you look at that, I think it's the best bet. for an investment.
Are you throwing all your money at it?
No. So I got into crypto 2017, like November 2017. You look at the price of Bitcoin, it was like basically the top. But all through 2018, basically every like spare dollar I had, I used to buy Bitcoin and Ether. And I sold a bunch of it last year when it crashed. But I still have a bunch. I'm not buying anymore right now, really. But there's also this concept of airdrops. Have I told you about this?
Yeah, iPhones have airdrops where you can just...
Kind of. So I think that's where the name came from. But basically any crypto application will have a token at some point. Because essentially once they have users, then they can, like, instead of charging their users fees, they can distribute a token, they call it an airdrop, to all their users and keep like half of it for their treasury, and they just basically created wealth for themselves. So the only way I'm getting new Ether now is I use applications that don't have a token yet. I get airdropped a token for using it, and then I sell the token when I get airdropped to buy more Ether. So basically, you're doing work and you get a token for free.
What do you like? Give me an example of what you do with the application that.
Okay, so I got there. Okay, so here's a couple. So on the internet, there's a protocol called DNS.
Okay.
Basically, domain name service. So when you go to google.com, it's actually getting pointed to a server somewhere with an IP address.
Okay.
So it's like an in-network IP address would be like 192.168.0.24 or something.
Okay.
You're getting pointed to an IP address somewhere else on Google's server. But you don't want to have to remember to get to Google, you got to go to 11.13.22.7 or something. You just want to go to google.com. So DNS, domain name service, is where the google.com comes from. So along the lines, I think 2017 or something, somebody created the ENS, Ethereum name service.
Okay.
So instead of remembering like my crypto wallet address is 0x7560ND, I guess N can't be one of them. Anyway, it's like 40 characters long.
Okay.
I want my address to be tim.eth.
Okay.
So I bought a couple of those just like for fun because I thought it was cool. I didn't buy tim.eth. If you look, I looked, somebody bought it for 100 ETH, or maybe it was like 30 ETH, but it was a lot.
Damn.
Yeah. But basically they didn't have a token. I wasn't even really expecting them to. But they did an airdrop. So I got a bunch of ENS tokens that I then sold.
So wait, I don't get. So you bought a name
I had,
and then you got paid for it?
Yeah, I used the ENS service to get my ENS name. And then they're like, okay, we want to decentralize, basically give ownership from like this small group of programmers or whatever to the community. So they distribute this token to everyone that's used their service. And then there's a market for that token. So you can sell it, you can buy it. But yeah, like pretty much every crypto like application is going to have a token at some point. So here's some alpha for you. Look for like applications that don't have tokens and use them to try to get an airdrop because it's basically free money.
You'll have to teach me that.
Okay.
Some night if you got time.
Sure.
Invite me over and we'll have a beer.
Yep. This is the last thing, because I'm sure everyone's turned it off at this point, but it seems like you are interested. This is pretty much just
I'm a pretty good actor.
That was a good line.
Just kidding.
No. So, I was saying Ethereum fees are expensive.
Yes.
There's protocols called layer 2s to Ethereum that, without getting into too much detail, basically users will use this separate blockchain that's a layer 2.
Okay.
They use the applications on layer 2, and the layer 2 rolls up all the user transactions and posts them to Ethereum. So,
okay,
like, because they're combining all the transactions into one thing on Ethereum, they can charge way cheaper fees. None of these layer 2s have tokens. One of them, called Optimism, has announced that they're going to do an airdrop. And
is that where all your money and time is going to?
A lot of my time is for researching, but Optimism is going to do an airdrop.
Is it spelled dumb?
No, it's spelled like the real word.
Okay.
So here's 3 more I'll give you. ZK Sync, Starknet, and Arbitrum. All 3 of those do not have tokens. And I think they're like the 3 most important crypto services for the next decade, besides Ethereum. But yes.
Well, let's hang out sometime and you can teach me how to do that.
Okay.
I'm open to speculation. I got a little bit of cash to speculate with.
So here's the thing.
Like,
just to use these services, you're going to end up paying some money in fees.
Yeah.
And you have to have Ethereum to push around, whatever.
Okay.
But yes, the risk reward is like the most insane trade you could do right now
in the universe.
Yeah,
I'm open to that. Like I said, I got a little bit of dinero to speculate with, so why the hell not?
There you go.
YOLO it.
Like months and months ago, I got a bunch of my friends to play around with ZK Sync, just because I'm like, this is so obvious that, like, they've even announced, like, they had on their website, they're like, yeah, we're gonna do a token eventually, but like not now. So of course they're not just gonna like make a token and sell it, because that's illegal. It's like unregistered security. So all they can do is distribute it via airdrop.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to doing that with you.
Can't wait.
Hell yeah, brother. All right. Well, would you look at the time?
What time is it? Bedtime.
Pretty much.
All right.
Thanks everyone for listening to the end, or skipping to the end.
Yeah.
Wow, so much knowledge.
Yep. They don't know what they're missing. I'm telling you, like, you could almost not even work a full-time job, and like, if you dedicate yourself, just make enough money from airdrops to fund your life easily.
Dope.
Yep.
Hell yeah. All right. Thanks, y'all. Thanks, Tim.
Bye.
Bye.